today's 1 million by 1 million strategy roundtable for entrepreneurs. This is our 84th roundtable. 1 million by 1 million is to million entrepreneurs reach $1 million in annual revenue and beyond, build $1 trillion in global GDP and 10 million jobs. So that's here. This is our free public roundtable. We also have the private roundtables, which is members only, which we do not publicize as widely, but the roundtables have been going on for a long time, since the fall of 2008. So this is coming up to 5 years that we're doing these. We started experimenting very gently in 2008, and now we've done 184 sessions almost. So the event is being recorded. You will have a recording available both on our blog as well as on the YouTube channel. Our Twitter ID is M1M. You can find us on Twitter at Sramana. Follow our handle at 1M by 1M. Our channel is 1M Roundtable. So you can go to YouTube and also find recordings of lots and lots of previous sessions on this YouTube channel. You also find FAQ videos of those, our 1M program in there. And one really fun thing, we have a bunch of cartoons, entrepreneur cartoons, which entrepreneurs find funny, but entrepreneurs do find them funny. We're going to do, the format of today's session is that we're going to run through a bunch of presentations and work with a set of entrepreneurs, 4 to 5 entrepreneurs, part of the session. Then, depending on how much time we have available, we're going to open it up, and you can call number 650-479-3208, 667-61438 is the code. Just let in public chat that you want to call in for a quick chat. Also another opportunity for you to engage. We're going to start with Invention Labs. Ajit Narayanan. Ajit is a pre-member of the 1M program, so he's been programmed for several years and has made a lot of progress. He already has a selling product, and we've been working with him for some time now. So today we're going to work on a specific piece of Ajit's business. So Ajit, could unmute your line and tell us what's going on? That would be great.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yep, it's good to hear you.
Yes, Sramana, it's been a while.
Yes.
Just a couple of lines of introduction for those who are here who haven't seen me yet. I have a company called Invention Labs. I'm based in Chennai, in India. It's a product that helps children with disabilities like autism, cerebral palsy. I've built a product that helps these kids to talk. For the iPad, it's also an app available for Android platform. While I came up with this app, I also invented a new technology called free speech, which is a visual way of representing language. And someone coaching me about building a business of ours and also what I can do with this new technology of mine. Sramana, after we spoke, I had some ideas about how I wanted to build products using free speech, and you asked me to do a lot more of homework, do a lot more of research into specific market segments. Could build something which differentiates free speech. Also advised me to concentrate on bringing the numbers of hours up to a certain minimum level. I've done both to some extent. We've done targeted marketing of schools, and schools are reopening now, so it's a good time to be selling to them. And we've got the numbers up to about 60, 70 a month. And that will go up to about 100 with a few OEM sales, and I'm trying to tie up as well. So that's a milestone that we'd set for me the last time we spoke, and I think I'm there. What I'm finding, Sramana, is that yeah,
$670 a month you're selling at the $9 price point?
Yeah, $99 price point across multiple countries, across the US, across Denmark, Australia, and India.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a lot. I mean, July was a really bad month for us because all the schools were closed and all of that. August has been picking nicely, and September I think is going to be this. So there is seasonality there. So as far as strategy is concerned, I tried 3 or 4 different things, and we've spoken about this in the private roundtable as well. But I tried through these email channels to therapists and schools, which is I've been doing for a while now. I'm reaching out to parents directly with a newsletter, with social all of that. Reaching out to parents is working, but very slowly. This seems to be working really well, selling to schools, selling by a therapist. It's like the next step for me would really be to increase the amount of investment I have in sales, marketing through that particular channel. So I have a customer acquisition strategy which seems to work. I've kind of validated it over the last 3-4 months. Scale it up. I think I may need to either have a person who travels to the US and meet some of the larger school districts, tries to pitch us there.
Very bad, by the way.
I'm
pretty that's a very bad strategy. It has been a disaster over of visiting through school districts, and I can spend a lot of money and huge sales cycles and not sell very much. Money sink. In the US have gone out of business following this strategy.
Sramana, you broke up a little bit there. Did you say that it might be a huge money sink to invest money in the schools?
In visiting schools and trying to sell that way, yes.
I think it will take up money and the sales cycle might be a little long. But, what we've been doing so far is we've been getting on calls, doing webinars, showing sessions on the internet and all of that, and we've been closing a large number of sales. I have a feeling that there are schools our product, and I think we have some validation that there is a good product market fit with ours.
Continue to sell over telephone and don't waste money in direct. Your price point is not one that warrants direct selling. Go through Sales 2.0 module. It explains all this stuff in detail. Is what can be sold in person, what can be sold over the phone. To sell this in person is the wrong strategy.
Okay, I mean that's my mind about that. But I think that I want to scale it a little fast now. I want to step up the pace a bit.
So
and I think
telesales operation.
Scale up sales operations over
telesales, web sales, the WebEx, webinar, web demo. That you can scale up. But sending a person to go knock people's door person, that's not going to do anything. That's going to be money.
Okay. Okay. The
one person doing telesales right now, you can make it 3 or make it 5, but for the same price, or if you have to put someone in the US and send him door to door, that's a bad strategy.
No. Okay. The point I wanted to bring up in today's roundtable is that I'd like to see a little bit of scale in Aavas, and I think doing that is put a lot of money behind that.
Sure.
And looking at, if I can invest about $100,000 over a period of a year, maybe doing, scaling up telesales, maybe scaling up acting, maybe doing a few other things that, we've been talking about. But I think it would be great to capture a bigger market share, because it's a nice, very good spot right now. We have a product that's better than competition, but nobody has heard it. So I think this is time for me to do that.
Fine. However, for some invest that money, you have to tell exactly what you're going to do with that money. In fundraising, there is required to explain how you're going to use the funds. And you want to know how you're going to invest the funds. And if you tell, for instance, if you were asking for money from me, right? And if I'm going to use the money to put a person in the US who's going to go knocking on the doors of therapists from school to school, I would say, no, I want to give you the money to do that.
So I've got a detailed plan about how I want, why I need this money, how I'm going to do all of that, and I'm hoping to pitch that in a private roundtable pretty soon. But right now, in today's I want to discuss why I want to raise money for Awaaz, why I want to raise money for free speech, and to present in the next slide 4 different I have help me prioritize which of those channels would be best for me. So that's what we'll talk about in today's roundtable. Yep. I just want to spend a moment talking about free speech as well. I tried to do what you said last time, Sramana. I tried to go back to the market research. I tried to figure out where I could make a product which would work really well. We had language teaching. We spoke of other things. I figured that I need to explore it a little more, and I need to explore each of these a little deeper. And I also need to get the technology working, product in the customers, do a little bit of trial. I think that it's a bit of time for me to get to the point where I can make a serious business pitch. So if there's another $100,000 or so that I can get, which will last me maybe a year and a half of product research, basically tinkering around, trying different product ideas and trying out different market segments, talking to different people and all of that. I think in about a year's time, I'd have an increasingly strong business in one sector with one, ticking the boxes that you've been coaching me to do. Figuring out the customer segment, figuring out the competitive analysis, figuring out the customer acquisition model, all of that. But I think I can't do that sitting outside. I think I need to get in, try a few things, and also improve the technology from where it is today. I want it to be.
That is very difficult to sell to investors.
Right. So that's why taking an investor is only the options I'm trying to figure out. But these two different businesses are in completely different stages. Speech is it's a technology. It's a which I potentially commercial. I have no clue where it's going to come from. I need money to explore it a little bit. I have a small product, limited market, but I have a lot of questions. And the risk is much lower, and I can build a plan around it.
I've told you many times, there's a lot of precedents in the industry, in the business, of people doing a small product to begin with, generate cash, and then use that cash to do research that you're talking about to figure out what is a big opportunity to go after, and then if you want, you can raise money on the bigger opportunity. All that is viable. So possibly this $100,000 has come out of the revenues of Awaaz. May be the path that we'll have to take.
But again, there's a shelf life for free speech as well, because excitement in the market with respect to teaching, there's excitement with respect to interactive experiences and all that. So the better. If money was not.
I agree with that. See, language teaching, especially English language teaching, global phenomenon, and the more that there's going to be more of that happening in upcoming years, because there's a lot more people getting online, right? There's going to be another billion people online, and most of these are going to be coming from the emerging markets, which are not English-speaking markets. So learn English. There's going to be plenty of opportunities for going forward also. So it's not a constraint.
Right. Yeah.
Whether you can come up with a differentiated product or not, that is the real issue.
I guess. And I do need to study these things a little better before I can actually write down differentiated product in this space. So I research this more, but Google research and you actually put something in the market, talk to people, it out. That's what I want money for free speech. There are 4 ways in which I can raise this money, Sramana. That I run a profitable services business.
Yeah.
I could put $100,000 in profit, just for customers.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's one thing I'm considering, though it's the easiest thing to do, just continue what I'm doing right now. The option is, incubator. They've a lot of banks, and there's an interest from one of these banks to give me $100,000, roughly, slightly less than that, about 50 lakhs working capital. And so that's something that I could close. Talk to a few people, not very seriously. I don't yet have a very serious investor pitch or anything like that. I want to do that with your coaching, but there are the people I've spoken to. I referred to it in your curriculum as thunder lizard hunters. I've spoken to one or two people like that, and they're very interested in, especially because this money is chunk for them. So they're interested to see whether they put it in and see if something.
Yeah.
The question is, I spoke to somebody recently. This is an OEM partner that we've had. They take Avaz and they bundle it with an Android device and they sell it as a dedicated device, a product. They're talking. They came me with an offer saying, can your Android product outright? So you do your iPad thing, but we the team developing the Android version, and we'll get back to you if you want it in India or in other markets where Android is big. And I don't know if we haven't talked, but I think I could potentially look at something dollars from them. These four, it's quite coincidental. Both of them have the same number on them, but I'm trying to figure out.
These actually in India, if people give you unsecured working capital loan, that is worth looking at because that's not easy to get.
Your voice broke up there. You said you can give me an unsecured loan.
If India is willing to give you of $100,000, because it's very difficult to get that in India.
I'm terribly sorry, Sramana. Your voice is completely breaking up. I don't know if it's a problem on my end or if it's happening to everyone.
Does anybody else have audio problems from my voice? Or have difficulty hearing me? Ajit.
Yeah. Okay. I think the problem must be on. Would it be fine to take just a minute to disconnect and reconnect?
Yes, please, and dial back in. In the room, it's great that you're introducing yourself. Keep doing that. We'd love to know who you are, what are you working on, and so forth. So by all means, introduce yourselves. And we are working right now on Invention Labs. This is Ajit Menon. He's a pre-member of the 1M1M program, and we are working on his venture. He has in Invention Labs. He has two products that he's working on. One is Avaz, and he's got this other technology called free speech, which has not been productized yet. So we are discussing the financing strategy for that company. The company revenue, by the way. Right. Ajit, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm saying is that the debt, unsecured working capital loan from an Indian bank that happens incredibly rarely in India. As you know, Indian banks are very conservative.
Yes.
And seldom offer something like that. So it is a question that you should go forward with and see what really is behind it.
Okay.
Okay. more about why they want to give you this loan and what are the strings attached to this. Because, as you go through this discussion, you'll discover that there's all sorts of fine print that we can make a decision based on what are the strings here.
Okay.
But if there are a lot of objectionable strings attached, then this is worth looking at. What that will do is it will give us the bridge capital to get ours to $1.2 million as you're forecasting. Let's say that forecast is correct, and that will also give us the margin to work free speed the next year.
Okay.
So that option, let's continue discussions with the bank. Roche one, it depends on how much of your personal time goes into this, because what you're trying to do is dedicated upon your personal management bandwidth. And so far from what you do not have somebody else of comparable caliber who can drive something, right?
A little bit over the last year with Roche, and the way I've done that is that I've partnered with other company that about half of the work. So projects, and then I do some part of the work, and I work with them to do the other half. But they quite a lot because they're really good, and things have come down.
How much profit can you make from this $100,000 role?
Would be profit. I mean, typically $200,000 worth of project. Okay. A little less than, maybe about $3,000 of profit from Roche. Okay.
That I think is also worth looking at, because that's $70,000-$80,000 of free cash flow will help us a lot.
Yeah, it takes up about 1/3 of my time, somewhere between 20 to 30% of my time. It's a significant. It takes up a lot of mind share because I do all the negotiations, I do all of the proposal writing. Part of the work I can't outsource.
Right. So, main objection, the main problem with the services angle is that now, if you want to move us to the next level as well as figure strategy, we're going to need your bandwidth dedicated at least, talking about a third. If 1/3 goes into Avaz, 1/3 goes into free speech, and 1/3 goes into Roche, that's going to be basically challenging.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Bandwidth issue. The equity offers, you have to tell me a bit more who they are, and I'm not averse to equity either, but I know who these people are, and is it smart money? That's the one thing that I want you to pay attention to, because people cut out their expectations. What are they investing in? What expectations are they investing with? And be able to meet the expectations. Investor investing in a project, invest with certain expectations. And if you match between your game plan and the investor's expectations,
Right.
So that, again, it's worth looking at. Let's look at the terms. Let's look at the offer. Let's look at the characters who would, in a situation like this. But I can't make a decision without knowing those details.
Okay. With equity is question about the equity is that there's interest from some people in free speech, interest from some people in Avaz as a social impact investment. I don't know maybe some people who are enough to invest in both just because they're interested in one. I'm wondering if I should make now I'm thinking about it is to make two pitches.
No. You invest in a company. And you're going to follow the Avaz strategy, and then it's going to develop the free speech. Free speech strategy is not even ready yet. So what's invested in?
Right. Just the person and the dream in some sense. It's just that investors who do that, right? It's not about money.
And it's not a pure investing in a person. You have some track record. You have a revenue generating product. So they're not just investing in a person. They are investing in a business.
With a 1.2 million.
They have you have good, you have managed your company with discipline. You have, good your development in the company, in the business. You're growing one product. You have a services business that generates cash. So from an investor's point of view, it's not a bad situation to bet on where something much bigger could happen. If you're talking about high net worth individuals who are investing in you, making that assessment is that, okay, this is an entrepreneur who with very, very limited resources has already built something, has, shown exit capacity. So the chance, and he's a smart, thoughtful entrepreneur, so it's a good idea to invest and give him an opportunity to go further with it. That's the calculation that's happening in the heads of these investors. So I'm not to equity investment either. In fact, all three of these are fine. You take all three of them. In you could do all of them. Debt, services, equity, you could do all of them. Because what would happen is, if you take the debt, it will give some cash. And you talked about advertising. I'd like to understand what experiments have you done on advertising, and if that's doing anything in terms of lead generation. It does, especially Google advertising or Facebook advertising, something that is directly translating into leads. If that code can be cracked, that is a very low overhead station. That can actually help you. So very quickly, if you can create a scenario, you understand the equation between the lead and the conversion, then money can be turned and effectively without a lot of management bandwidth. So that's why I like debt, and the service can actually help you pay off the debt, working capital, and help you pay off the debt, and then as you build that up and continue the negotiations with the potential equity partners, and sooner or later you will most likely raise equity, and in any case we need to interested and proceed as and when it makes sense. With all of the first reasons, I'm not particularly keen on sale of assets because it will vastly complicate intellectual property issues, and it will use a bunch of legal negotiations and lawyer fees and blah blah blah, and I just don't like that.
The fact of the matter is that I'm not making a lot of money from our Android right now. I make 10 times how much. I make 10 times the amount from iPad as I do from Android. I have an Android platform.
Yes, but you don't really know that yet because you haven't really fully pursued certain countries and certain geographies, certain languages where Android is big, and the Asian markets you have not really pursued, and there's all sorts of things happening in the Asian markets, which or many of the emerging markets, even Latin American market, you haven't really pursued, and you just don't like the idea of Android in a short-sighted way and closing off those possibilities.
Okay. Perfect sense. I like the way you've laid it out for me. I'll do work and I'll come back to you at a private session and we'll talk about this a little more.
Perfect. You're very welcome. You're up next, Zest.md.
Sramana. Vinayak here.
Hello.
I'm Vinayak, and what we do is we provide e-clinic platform for nutritionists. I think it's a platform with nutritionists to create a equipped with all the external pages as a regular website, and it also provides a way for her patients to register, and the patients can then register and actually continue with online consultation, the diet and other things on the platform.
Okay.
So that's the big product. And it has been developed medical practitioners, but we have taken nutritionists for two reasons. One is it gives us a marketing focus to do certain customizations so that it adds clear-cut value for that specialization.
Okay.
So that's the thing. So this is just what I explained. So and what we have also done is we have tried to integrate it with some of the trackers like Runkeeper and Fitbit and Fitbug. Really, you not see people use that to do much integration, but this, what people are currently utilizing for both these services is for a big site, people just use WordPress or Blogspot. Get a basic website developed from a third-party web agency. So there's generally no platform which offers web-based consultation. What people do is either EMR solutions or reports what globally practiced fusion, or it's done by specific fitness trackers like Fitbit. Two patients are using Fitbit, then the account can get and like that, or other platforms for online management of appointments. So based management for offline practice. So Clinic and Practo, and I think Doc for the appointment.
Okay.
So when we try to bridge that, we say it's a form that is easily deployed. We can sign up our form and begin with this 5 minutes. And actually, out they can begin get new patients with some support for in terms of search engine optimization and social media integration. It helps them to complete the cycle of web promotion and actual consultation.
And specific stuff, like do you have content, maybe little calculators or, with stuff as part of your portfolio of the platform that are specific to requirements of the nutritionist?
Yes, there are specific, like BMR, there's some calculation. Said that we do not have a calculator to calculate the actual, right? So dietitian or a nutritionist makes a diet, she can communicate it over the web, or it needs of the patient in a better way. So if you height, weight, so what ratios are required from height, weight, and age, those calories required generally, they are.
And if someone diabetic or has high sugar or,
so we capture conditions.
Account.
So what we do is we provide one default questionnaire, which can override by her own questionnaire, and that questionnaire takes into account the basic information, the medical conditions, the lifestyle questionnaire, what a typical daily diet is like, and dietary habits which are generally required by nutritionists. So we have format and patient, and what we've also done is made it very user friendly. So when a patient comes, upfront he's prompted by say 10 questions or 5 and 5 question set. So the fee of patient to fill details is very high. We see normally nutritionists tell us if they mail a questionnaire to a patient, very few of them actually come back.
Yeah.
So
they're working with you right now.
We'll say we have around 112 to 120 clinics. 60 to 70 of them are active, and I'll just discuss in the few what has been the issue.
Why don't you continue with flow of your slides, and I'll hold my question.
Not an issue. So just to talk about basic numbers, and when people talk about if nutrition is such a specific need, what mark size on that. So when you talk about patients, there's a huge number of patients being there, and the sales are high. And so, as sense, nutritionists are not even competing with the offline space of business. It is offline business has to come online. It's already a lot of people who are online and probably are going for blogs and whatever they get their hands on. And these are people which eventually convert to online patients.
And how many, the that you were describing earlier, is that India specific number or a global number that you were working with?
That's a global number. There's a 50 mix in that almost. 50
already
and
working
the rest
with global customers.
We are.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If you can just to talk about target segment, and here's where it becomes a bit tricky for us in the market. So we are looking for any freelance nutritionist who is currently in a business, who wants to run a business. There are clinics which have taken a platform where they have proper offline setup, and they said, okay, I'm better calling my patients because it frees up my clinic space and let me get a good online system.
Okay.
Internally classified as three things. So one, nutritionists who have always worked offline, and definitely new coming online.
Either of working with people who are already, slightly savvy with online.
Right. So there's some who have been working as freelancers, online, both, and then work our platform, and the third who are just starting a new business. And interesting, people who are starting a new business, good experience, like 15-20 years they might have worked in some other clinic or with hospital or things like that. Right. And I just said
you have to pay attention here is a nutritionist who are savvy with stuff, because getting people who have no experience with online are a long sales cycle. But who are already have tinkered around with online mechanisms, when you give them a full solution, resonate with it because they've kind of tried to do it online, but haven't had the full solution. Could be people who are starting new businesses, could be freelancers who are starting to build their practices and so forth. So that's fine, but just keep in mind, psychographically, you need to get people who are reasonably online savvy.
True.
LinkedIn and Facebook posts is going to give you the way to find email lists, is my guess, nutritionists and dietitians. I think this acquisition strategy is going to work.
So we have been doing till now, and what we recently last month. I mean, if we can just go to the next slide, I will come there. I think that this we just recently shot last month 2 weeks, so have done well.
Okay.
In a sense, that was to make our pitch easier to other business.
Sure.
And so our key issue is that the type of queries or maturity of nutritionists which I get from, say, India or India are actually different. What I get from, say, US, Canada or Australia, the people who have been working for, say, 10 years online. Now, one is they got their website made in 98 or 2001 or things like that. So it's a very old website. And even if it's a new website, they understand the limitations of a website.
Yeah.
They appreciate the fact that the platform is more than a website.
Yeah.
Right? That we have not.
to pay for that appreciation, that it's the
Yes, they're willing to pay, and relatively the pricing for them is lesser.
Yes.
Because nutritionists, the costing is essentially what they will charge patients, 1.5 patients a month. For a nutritionist, it's almost 1 hour consultation cost.
Yes.
What our platform cost is.
Do you charge or something like that?
We $79 per month.
Once more?
9.
$79 a month. Okay, that's a reasonable price.
Yeah. The international really streamline our flow filling to, or streamline actually our complete flow. Here's where it gets tricky. Is fully on say that okay, it doesn't matter how many nutritionists we get, they focus 100% online conversions platform. Or have another way where in India doing we just started 1 month back this experiment. We call up nutritionists who had tried the trial, they have not really used it, and we'll give you a holding period of 3 months, right? We also earmark some of the cost for your promotion. So basically we do a basic SEO, Google listing and listing on basic things. And say 1 day after the trial begins, they start getting patient registrations. And that means that they get interested and they get active on the platform. Retentive on how, when they are really eager to know that how do I actually consult this patient. That really struggle to convert even the patient registrations.
Here's my reservation. You cannot be in that business.
Yeah.
When a nutritionist doesn't know how to convert, you don't get paid. You're also selling platforms. So you better with customers who are interested in buying the platform and can do the rest of the work on the platform, use the platform with and pay subscription. You do not be in some sort of a success fee kind of business model. So customers who require success fee business models, you shouldn't focus on them.
Okay.
So is ready to buy your platform and is savvy enough to be able to work with it. This comes back to the first comment I made. You need to work with people who are relatively online savvy and competent in converting your, into business. What you're doing, or what you're offering to do their business, without to do the entire hand-holding, because then it becomes a services business and you need to charge a lot more. You can't.
Right.
And the kind you're describing in India seems to be on the side that it's very high touch, big service and not very good payment. That's not your audience. Scrap that audience and go after this US, Canada, Australia, whatever, and that's where the real audience is.
Okay.
Okay.
Push more for partnership. So we do have 6 interests. From initially, I think there are people who just focus on services for nutritionists and health coaches in US and Canada. Talking to them that the marketing part, would you like this as an additional platform because it will help you a greater return on your efforts?
If they have enough clientele and if they want to sell this on a revenue share basis, affiliate partnership revenue share basis, absolutely. Sure. You can get 6 partners who typically have clientele to whom they can sell this to, absolutely. Why not?
Okay. Right. Thank you, Sramana.
You're welcome. Rishabh, next open source ERP. Hi. Go ahead. What's up?
I actually came across your blog when I was searching for articles on Indian ERP products, and you had interviewed the CEO of Ramco a couple of months back. So but when I came to your site, I saw so many resources for entrepreneurs, and it was great to see some of your earlier videos too.
Mm.
Thought I might just join in.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I started out every product for my family business. So it's no longer my family business, but that's how I started. And first couple of years, I did services and also built a product.
Okay.
I realized that I am a product guy and I don't want to work for other people, so I only focus on the product 2010. Since then, I have so we have around 125 active installations. 90% are paid and 10% are using open source. And we open sourced the product way back in 2009, I think, but only since this January we are getting active interest on in the product. Close to 300 people on our list now, and roughly 10 to 15 emails every day. So just beginning to get some kind of traction. And we price this product at $599 per year, which is it's like this week goes for $99 per user per month. So this is so we are priced very low, and not I'm pricing it very low. But that's the strategy. I mean, my view is to go after the QuickBooks, the Tally, and that kind of a market and upgrade them to ERP.
Okay, so tell me about the 105 paid installations that you've done so far. Who are people? What kind of customer base are you able to convert?
Half of them are in manufacturing, in distribution, and maybe 10 odd in retail. These are in India, 60% out of India. Second biggest market is Middle East. Third biggest US, and rest is all fragmented. We have 5-6 customers from Africa, from East Asia, all over the world. So we have not been able to, and we are a very marketing-driven organization. So our marketing focus has been very limited.
Deals being sold with people, open source community who have taken your product and developed on top of that, or how have the products been sold?
So we do hosting at $599 per year, and we have a 30-day trial. So around 100 people take a month, and out of them around 8 to 10 convert. So that's the cycle. We do around $100 worth of AdWords. So that's working for us.
And $5 worth of AdWords produces trials per month? Yeah.
I mean, we also have a lot of word of mouth. I mean, we have, so the term ERP Next now has 1,500 unique searches a month. The word is also getting around. We have a word of mouth traffic coming in. So
you're now what, about $6,000 a month in product revenues?
Slightly more with renewals. So this is our second year of actually so annual payments. So yeah. Just to reiterate the customer base, and we have customers in Europe, the graph and so, but it's only manufacturing, distribution, and it's a fragmented base, and we are pitching it as a generic ERP. Yeah. Okay. This is a product. We have built our own product over the last 5 years, and it's HTML5 mobile friendly, and we get a lot of appreciation for our UI. I mean, that's one of our strengths. So this is looking at the market. I mean, you know more. This market is totally fragmented. This is an image I picked up from the stage presentation that being a market leader, they only have 15% market share. Completely fragmented market, and I mean, the Indian market is even more fragmented because so many small vendors, two ERP product companies in Mumbai itself. That's my uneducated estimate. Serving 5 to 10 customers. Yeah.
What questions? So, given this kind of scenario, you're absolutely right. There are lots of players. Even in the open source ERP space, there's a player called OpenBrow out of Spain, right?
So if you just next slide, I'm just switching that here. So in the last, so open source ERP market, Open ERP, which is based in Belgium, and they have a development team in India, really taking the market. And if you see in terms of search interest just on Google Trends, their search interest is right now the same as NetSuite. So ERP is quickly becoming our number one competitor. I mean, earlier we used to be compared to NetSuite, Bright, Pearl, of software, but now I think 7 out of 10 customers compare us to OpenERP. So I think OpenERP is getting a lot of traction, and we are directly competing with them. So just, most of our traffic comes from word of mouth. We have $500 per month AdWords. We have around 10,000 email IDs on our mailing list, most of them who have signed up. This is just our graph that the channel, where do we go from here? Initially we used to do product services, it was up and down. We're getting a reasonable trend that the product is growing slowly.
Mm-hmm. And
if you just go to next,
just a second. This mix is showing the customers that you have who are your subscribers do additional needs, because open source business model typically is a combination of services, training, customer and premium features and so forth. So what kinds of how can you we have a whole bunch of open source case studies that we teach in the program. What are you implementing in your product? Or
so zero customization. I mean, we have one active partner in Pune, one in Brazil, and maybe a couple in Germany. So our vision is very clear. We 3 developers who build the product, and I had a big team. I mean, vision is to be the WordPress of ERP. And if 99 out of 100 customers don't pay anything, but I own ERPnext.com, I will give premium hosting at price to those 5% or whatever fraction of customers who want hosting at ERPnext.com. So I've done
hold on, hosting such a big deal. Hosting is service, valuable service. So
hosting is, but yeah, it just gives. I mean, what gives $199 hosting? I think for blogs on WordPress.com. So it will be a set of customers who don't want to go, especially the small businesses who don't have their own ERP, they don't want to do backups, they don't want to have redundancy, they don't want to do all of that, because it's just more of mind for them to just, hosting.
You're talking about a cloud service. Don't call that hosting. That's a cloud.
Sorry, yeah.
Thing. You can confuse people if you say just hosting. The public cloud open ERP service. Very different order of value addition than just hosting.
It's ERPnext hosting, or you can say public ERP hosting. Yeah.
It's a cloud ERP service. It's a cloud ERP service that is hosted on your end. It's backed up and all the maintenance and thing is on the cloud. That's why you're charging $600 a year. It's not hosting. So don't host it.
No, it's not count. Yeah. Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. Yeah. So so this is like a whole bunch of strategies. I mean, I'm not able to prioritize. So for first thing is it's software as a service which gives us our current revenue. And so we also have a website builder, a CMS from the ERP, like we saw with the earlier presentation. Right? You can generate a website from the ERP because you already maintain your item and everything, and you're already building a shopping cart. And so basically that will become a viral for us, because then customers will then ask their customers to log in and kind of create this kind of viral effect. That's separate organizations for separate domains like schools, non-profits. We get these inquiries all the time, and we are not able to focus on them. The other, we get a lot of partner interest. but it's so low, so we don't really know what to pitch to the partner. A query for white label, which so far I have not accepted, but I think it might be the way to go for us. Yeah. And customization and implementation we don't want to do. We have done that, but that's something we eliminated. We're thinking how do we take it from here? I mean, that's...
I can't address all of these issues, but I think you can build a company here. I can take a lot of funding, and I don't think anybody will give you a lot of funding right now for this business because the market is too crowded. Until design a strategy that can convince somebody that this can be a scalable business, I would build it as a bootstrapping business. However, I believe that you can build a reasonable sized bootstrap business here.
That's my preference. I would like to, because I really don't know how much returns and how fast I can get returns. So very high on my list.
Still several $1 million bootstrap business here, and I'd be happy to help you do that. You have a business here. It's just not. I'm not sure if this is a venture style business.
Yeah.
But you've done a nice job, and I think from here on, I can see a few specific different areas where you could get a lot more, traction and so forth, which we could pursue. But there's definitely a multi-million-dollar business to be built here.
That's great.
Okay. Hold on. I need to finish two more people, I think, and then talk about how to use the 1M1M program for the kinds of things that you guys are trying to achieve, and ask more questions we can do at the end of the session during Q&A. Okay. Hang on. Let me.
Thanks.
Take care. Yep. You're welcome. Is that Uma? Is that how you call yourself? This is Uma Maheshwaran.
Yeah. Yes. Good level. And I'm Uma Maheshwaran. I'm Mahesh. Big
Fix e-care services.
Let me maybe the next slide. I've been in for the last 15, 16 years, ever since I walked out of college. I'm in the web domain. I'm involved in developing a lot of portals, multi-streaming much before the YouTubes, and my portal was taken over in 2000 for a hands value. From move forward, I've been into various other domains, being the ERP domain, which was last discussed also. So I've done this since the last 15, 16 years, developed various web applications and mobile applications. That's where I come from. Okay. Now, somewhere in 2008, when I had developed a warranty care solution and for an MNC company like Ingram Micro, got in traction, we were introduced to Nokia. And we were a interaction center for cell phones. I put my wife in charge of this program, and she, as you see, she was in charge of running this center for Nokia to repair mobile phones, Nokia phones. Knowledge to that, I felt that there is an opportunity to automate and carry forward this services business using various technologies which I am aware of. So, it makes sense. I've launched BigFix.in, come out of the Nokia arrangement, and we are today a multi-brand gadget service in Chennai. It is already functional in Chennai, where we are trying to automate most of the functions there. And we're trying to do these through all online and web-related applications which could be developed. If that prototype is already available online, and you can look at them through my website, bigfix.in. Next slide. There, these are all those techniques issues which we have integrated along with and service business. What we are basically doing is an unorganized service business which has been converted into an organized product. The on-job book.
Job booking system got to do with anything?
You?
Job booking system got to do with fixing cell phones and tablets?
It's a job. It's the online booking of jobs. It's not like a service call. It's a job. Service call.
What's that got to do with fixing mobile phones and tablets?
Yeah, mobile phone, and when you want to get it fixed, we are saying you can get your job card done online.
Understand your business. I'm trying to understand what business are you in. If you're in the business of fixing online mobile support for repair services, to do with, so do you build applications for your customers as well on top of the repair services?
We will give them a subscription model where they go online, register themselves, add the devices, and if they want, they can get the phone fixed, whether it could be walk into a center to a prior appointment, or they could get one of our service engineers attend to them, or we could always have a logistic partner pick up the product and get it.
I see. Somebody in the window points out the confusion. Job booking system, you mean a ticket? You're talking about a specific.
Correct.
Okay, job booking system sounds is like a job application.
I got it when you told me first time, but I was not able to express it. This is nothing to do with the resumes or anything like that. You phone and you want it repaired, so I'm calling it as a job card. Okay, so
job card. Operational back end of your product. Got it.
True, right, very correct.
So here, present it as such, like this is the operational back end of your product, of your offering.
Exactly.
And actually your operational back end is organized like this.
We connected the entire background and we've got the domain knowledge from Nokia. The same procedure which we follow.
And to go to the next slide.
And all those procedures, L1, L2 level of service, L3 level of service, the tax, the PR, the audit compliances, all these things are understood by us and ensured in our software also that we take care of all this.
Okay.
Now, a pilot project running here already. There are 3 centers already functioning here. We have a head office where all these back office operations are taken care. We also have a software team which is a team working along with the Big Fix team. And we have as much on the development and on promotion of this. Shop provision here, in which takes customers to another e-com portal which I'm running, through which people also buy the product. Maybe you can take note of those and offline. I am able to, maybe next slide. In one of these centers, which is centrally located in Chennai, Mitra, I receive close to 50 footfalls a day. Most of them are smartphones. We've seen a number of tablets emerging now. We've always had tablets working in, and we generate roughly around 10 lakh rupees for good margins on these also. 20 is a conservative level. We get up to 30% profit margins on any repair service which we undertake. So these, the inputs here is to expand now. This is profit. It is funding its own operation. My activity on a couple of mobile site and mobile applications is also getting funded through this itself. We need to procure space, and I also have to strengthen the back end. I want to diversify, expand and go to South India by setting up 10 more centers. And I would also want to go pan-India. So all these are the timeline which have out, and we are looking forward to solve this in the next 2-3 months.
Yeah.
And yes, we need some funding to take up all these things. At HO level, on the back of it, to set up the repair factory and to set up the team or to improve the development capabilities which we currently have, we may require somewhere around 1 crore of rupees. This is about whatever investment which has already gone into it. I've spent around 50 to 60 lakhs into this business currently. And each of these customer interaction centers cost me around 25 lakhs. So since setting up another 10 centers, it would cost me another 2.5 crores. All my expectations are around 3.5 crores to carry forward this business. There is sustainability here, there is profitability, and we are kind of trying to business to the next level, and not the repair technician to an online business model with prepaid facility, on support facilities, and all those things. There's iYoga and a few other online service providers who would like to our business on.
Yeah. Wonderful. You've piloted it. You've shown good numbers. You've shown profitability. You have basically that you're trying to replicate across South India to begin with. I think this is a fundable model. Correct.
This is my first ever presentation, to be very honest, which is why I'm fumbling. I've never done this before. In all my previous ventures also, we were able to fund things on our own and then sell it off at a handsome value earlier. But now I would like to take this business a bit more seriously and a bit more professionally. Seriously, maybe professionally.
You've done a nice job of proving out the model. So I think, yes, you can scale it, and yes, you can raise money for it.
Yes.
I think those would work in this case.
I'm basically from Chennai. Right now, I had a meeting here in Bangalore, so I'm at a driving center. I'm late for my so maybe I should excuse me. I'll join you offline, or I can always send you other presentations.
I'm going to need to move on. So can you, it's good. What you're doing is good. It is fundable. That's my feedback to you. I need to work with one other entrepreneur, then do the last segment of the presentation. So if you can hold on until we are done with the rest of the
show.
Time you
great. Nice connecting with you. And definitely it was a lot, it gave me a lot of input, and it's an eye-opener for me. Thanks for all this. Thank you.
You're welcome. Vinny, next.
So, Sramana, first of all, I want to say that I've been following the article you're reading. I've recently bought your book, Intelligent 2020. It's a great book. I just started reading it, and I'm excited about this opportunity to present and discuss my idea directly with you.
Right.
And a small caveat before I explain. I'm moonlighting this business unlike many of the previous presentations, and if I can call myself an entrepreneur yet, it's pretty much in the current
very much
that we are.
We're moonlighting businesses. We call that is bootstrapping with a paycheck, which is fine.
Exactly. I followed that, Sramana, and it's up on one of my slides. I'm building my product with that same methodology right now. So again, my hope today, as I discussed with you, this idea is to get your feedback on the problem statement that we have crystallized and the customer discovery phase process that we are following. To start with HirePlace, in HirePlace, we aim to capture the headhunter segment for talent sourcing channel. I say this, how this idea generated is when I and a lot of other friends, friends of mine, people wanted to switch jobs and they were not able to find a direct channel. A lot of the channels that were established were inefficient in getting their jobs. So I started to look into the channels itself into which companies source candidates. And I did a competitive assessment, and from there on I landed on to headhunters, which are like 40% of the overall sourcing. There are some inefficiencies within this process, which was my hypothesis. So looked at what is available in the market, at least in the Indian market. Talio is building some presence in the enterprise segment, but in the freelance and the SMB segment, pretty much there were not many players that I could find to start in the Indian marketplace. I said, my hypothesis was there is a problem to be solved, and I should explore more. And more about this actual process. I'm not from the headhunting industry myself. Started to talk to candidates, headhunters, and HRs. Three people transaction. So candidates pretty much had this reservation of not being very accountable and not getting back to them appropriately, and they don't know what to do with their resumes. That was one problem. But with headhunters and companies, we find a lot of issues. So headhunters were mostly talking about concerns such as BD. So they have some relationships going, but they have no structured way to get to new companies to do business. Similarly, I got offer from some freelance headhunters to get them in panel, and they were willing to pay me 10% of their commission, to pay me 50K upfront. I've taken that offer. Hopefully able to get them in panel somewhere. And similarly, a lot of headhunters and freelance headhunters in tier 2, tier 3 cities, they work in like a networked model. The headhunters in large cities who have connections to the companies to get the business, but they cannot directly reach to the companies. Company side, there were issues in terms of the coordination takes a lot of time, and some of the senior HR members, they mentioned issues such as kickbacks play in the talent sourcing channel. Similarly, some of the startups founders, they mentioned how inefficient the whole process is and how they would love something very structured. So that have validated our hypothesis that the value in this thing.
You have presented all these different constituencies and their problems. Which problem are you planning to solve?
That's Sramana.
Okay.
So next one. So that's basically based on this. This is the value proposition, the platform that we propose. So in nutshell, we are focusing on freelance or on ODESK for headhunting. And problems that will be solved for the company side will be the sourcing will be more efficient. Place kind of a model, the cost reductions could come into place, and obviously the platform will offer visibility and transparency. And they can focus on their core aspect of closing the jobs, and they will build a brand on the platform, and there will be an element of community and learning. Going back to your Web 3.0 model, community. I was hoping that if headhunters are there and they, along with earning more, they feel a part of the community and they can learn to be a better headhunter, perhaps they will be more engaged. And of course, there will be visibility and transparency for them to see which kind of industries they're doing better. So it's more about bringing headhunters, freelancers on a platform and helping them interact with companies. And that's a general of problems.
And how are operating in? You're doing this for India, yes?
Now the focus is
operating in the Indian market.
I couldn't get to that number, but on the freelance and SMB segment, the number is very high. And according to a report that I could access from Chen Yang, the market, the transaction itself is around 2,500 crores in financial year of 11.
No, it doesn't help. What you understand is, are talking about headhunters, 10,000 headhunters, 3,000 headhunters. What's headhunters that you are trying to bring onto this one platform and have them behave in a certain way and with the companies?
I don't have the number overall. What
that number? You don't have that right now. But try to find that number, because that will give you an idea about the product you're trying to build, right? Headhunters, for instance, one company is to work with. If you assume that the large enterprises are going to work with Taleo and SuccessFactors and those high-end systems, all cases they have systems of their own, like the Infosys, they have systems that are built of their own. But if mid-level, mid to small SME market, basically that's where you're going to have your sweet spot. You need to find out in this segment an average number of headhunters that each company works with, and a pool of headhunters that will give you a sense of, what kind of a community are you building and what is the behavior pattern of that. You're going to need to also create, like if a headhunter is presenting a resume, what is the guarantee that headhunter gets paid for a job if it's a relationship? If it's a retainer relationship, that's different. It's a continuous relationship. How do you show through your marketplace that people get paid? And what do you do with duplicate resumes? A lot of candidates are with multiple headhunters. What do you do in such situations? There's lots of questions that are going to come up that your product needs to address.
Shrama, thank you for pointing all of those. Many of these are already in the features. I didn't want to focus on the features of the product in this presentation.
Fine.
Just wanted to focus on the problem that we are solving.
Keep going.
Yeah. So here is another hypothesis. So assuming that the problem is valid and we want to solve it, another hypothesis I had was we want to focus it, make it a consumer software, not an enterprise software, like rightly mentioned. So enterprise software, they want to focus push us for customizations. The sales cycle is longer, and there is already competition. So on the consumer software is where we believe it is the sweet spot we have. And obviously, this is a bit representation of how I envision this to play out. Companies are already working with headhunters in different segments. Some of them are mid-sized companies, mid-sized headhunters, very big branded headhunters, but a whole bunch of small headhunters which are not necessarily bad. They can source good candidates, but they do not have the reach. And this will help them get the reach to the companies.
So what consumer software versus enterprise software? I don't understand.
So enterprise software, where I meant was it's like an exclusive contract the company has with us, and they just source all their through. The first focus, that's where the
Marketing
software
is not an enterprise software. That's
so,
model, and the workflow of a marketplace is not an enterprise software workflow.
It's more like on Elance or Odesk, if you go and they say, if you need a team of 20 people, we can staff it for you. On the similar, if a company has already impaneled headhunters and they want to say, we want to channel all our headhunter activity through this platform, that is something we can able to do it, but that's not what we're focusing on right now.
Okay, so this slide is not a good representation, Vineet. I would take it out. It's
okay.
Out. You're doing a marketplace. Stay with that. Don't confuse people.
Yes. For the feedback, Sramana. That leads into the segmentation strategy and how do I plan to capture it. On the headhunter side, we have freelancers and we have resume sourcing agents and people who reach currently. Each them is kind of a pull marketing, telesales, email marketing, word of mouth, some network marketing, and incentivizing those people to bring on their fans. Some element of BTL, using somebody's blogs and events to cross them. So essentially, the goal is to go low cost and high reach pull based to obtain a critical mass of freelance headhunters.
You can
feedback on this?
Figure out where are these people, freelance headhunters, hanging out. There must be, more. You generate lists of these headhunters, and the best way to do would be to bring the SME companies on board and start kind of getting them to list the headhunters that they want to work with, and go back and kind of bring those guys on and stuff like that. But somehow you use the effect of the marketplace, viral effect of the marketplace.
Right. Sure. Thank you for the feedback, Sramana. This is on the SMB side, that's very wide as well. We said the first focus will be on the funded startups and internet-based products. They are very savvy with this kind of cloud-based softwares. And the funded stuff, they need to start people very quickly. They need internal HR and they need talent fast and they're willing to experiment. The marketing channels, they will telesales, referrals, and some network with some VC friends to get access to these founders. And also, as you were rightly mentioning, bring on some niche services companies such as analytics, a lot of network within analytics companies. So just to build that marketplace effect, bring most of the analytics companies, hence a lot of analytics focused freelance headhunters, and hence keep the wheel going. And on the company side, there could be an element of B2B sales. We hope not to fall into that trap. That might take a lot of time. While if we see traction into particular industry, we might as well go with B2B as well. Okay.
Your concepts, I think, and I think you're a good entrepreneur. You're thinking it in a good way. So working on it, just keep developing the ideas, and get a bunch of clients on each side. Get 20 SMB sides, get 20 headhunters that are servicing those clients, because you need both of those, and start piloting things.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting concept.
So current status is the high fidelity prototype is under, and bootstrapping using pay technology is there. So thank you for providing that input. exactly though, but I heard you mention a little bit earlier. Plan is to capture detailed feedback. I have talked to many headhunters, and some of them have agreed to be like a part of the user council, which I've said, you will get the product free for some time, but you will need to continue to provide me feedback on the product, and they agreed to it, of course. And so plan is to discuss with them. My couple of questions, Sramana, are number one on the company segmentation. MD is still wide. I feel on the headhunter side I'm fine. How do I think more fine on the company side in terms of segmentation?
Vinit, unfortunately, out of time, I need to do one more segment before we close today. But won't you hold on, and if there's more time, we can talk more at the end of the session. I will also go over how I work with companies, and if you want to work with me closely, you're welcome to use these instructions and join the 1M1M program, and I will be happy to guide you to develop your business. So, folks, before
just one my key aspect, of course, fix the process was about the problem statement itself. You see problem statement, a valid problem statement with a scalable opportunity, and is that the comment on that one?
That is correct. The question is not think it's a valid problem statement. If you have followed the work that we do in 1M1M, I very seldom value judgment on people's skills. You're validated by customers. It doesn't matter because they don't really know. What matters whether you are doing something valuable or not are potential customers. So you need to immerse yourself in customers and validate or invalidate your problem statement based on that. And there's a variety of other issues of 10 and whether it's fundable or not, what is the right funding strategy, is it a business that you should bootstrap, is it a business that you should try to fund, and there are all sorts of decisions and so forth. And the best way, easiest way for me to teach you all the pieces is through the 1M program. It's very difficult for me to discreetly, individually teach you all these things in these free. I will take you through how to use the program. Go there. But I would like you to learn all of that stuff so that you can make the decisions. All of you that I've heard from today, I sense that you are good entrepreneurs. You actually, at whatever scale is appropriate, with whatever strategy is appropriate, whether it's financing strategy, go-to-market strategy, you will be able to build businesses. It's just to make the right choices and the right decisions on the go-to-market strategy, on the financing strategy, on the segmentation, on the positioning, the idea of different decisions that need to be made in the process of building a business. And that's where we want to help you. That's why we have created the 1M1M program. And most first-time entrepreneurs do not have always the experience or the expertise to make decisions right, and that's where we just want to help you a little bit. So just go to the 1M1M program in a moment, and I'll just take 5 minutes and explain to the program, then hopefully we'll have a bit of time to come back to Q&A. And I have one request. All of you, if you like what we're doing here, do the work. 1M1M.com is where you're going to find all the resources. Many of you I know are quite familiar with the place, and so familiar because of the blog. The blog has been around since 2005. The 1M blog has been around since 2005, long before we found as the 1M1M program, the virtual incubation program. But everything is under one brand. So your extension begins with the blog because it's a free thing. And the first level of synthesis, as we said, he started already digging into the books. The first level of synthesis of learning how people are building businesses is in his book series. That's available on Amazon, Kindle, Flipkart, internationally. We've used so far, and it really is getting into some of these details, but it also predates the 1M1M program, so it doesn't quite have the level of synthesis and the level of depth that we have been able to accomplish in the 1M1M program. Nevertheless, you will get a lot of insight from the book series as well. It looks like, by the way, there are lots of videos of sites that are essentially video FAQs. The kinds of questions we get are all answered in little video clips. Thursday, we have these roundtables. So if you go to our website, you can book a slot to at least have a quick chat with me and get some feedback. We are 84th roundtable. We do a lot of these sessions. We've worked with many entrepreneurs. You're welcome to use these sessions to get some feedback and insight and guidance. The roundtables page on the website has the registration links and the dates and times of the sessions. We have the membership where we provide extensive methodology guidance. All the things that you need to do to build a successful venture are covered in the premium program. Through methodology guidance, we also help with business development. We give you this strategy consulting at a much deeper level in our private roundtables and help you with financing and media relations. This is really important because you need to get yourself out there, and it's very difficult for small companies who do not have big funding announcements to make to get through to the media. We have a lot of clout in the media, and we put that to work so that you can get out there and get your products known or services known so that customers can start engaging with you. And in some cases, we also see investors engaging with our companies because of media exposure that we create for them. And then if you do go through the methodology and together that you have fundable business, then we will also introduce you to investors and we'll help you prepare for those investor meetings. There's a whole lot of requirements for investor meetings. You're going to have to prepare for those investor meetings and help you prepare for that as well. Our member club for the last year actually is on the website. You will find them. I'm going to publish more members who have reached $1 million or close soon. Fall is a good fall. Winter are times when we start publishing and introducing more of these members. Our ROI equation is published also, quantifying the 1M value equation. We provide you with $375,000 a year worth of value for $1,000. Plus, typically 5 to 8% of equity, 5 to 10% of equity even. We don't have any equity. So just for $1,000, you get value worth of $375,000 plus 5 to 10% equity. You do not get any dilution. So the more you learn, the more you're going to be able to be in a strong negotiating position, from negotiate with customers, with channel partners, with investors, all the people to help you become successful in your entrepreneurial journey. We also do lots of orientation material and use the program well. I hope you use the 1M self-assessment. That's on the blog. It's for free. You can ask yourself these questions. These are vital questions that all of you will need to answer. And if you're able to answer the questions, we've also provided you curriculum modules. However, curriculum modules are only accessible if you're a premium member. Please understand that these are subjects it's the strategy topics in your business building process that you have to answer. So be sure to take a look at those. At 1mby1m.com, there's tons of information about the premium program, what to expect from the program, video FAQs, and so forth. You can also talk to Irina Patterson, who's side. She is going to be the person who will give you, will work with you if you want to talk to someone by Skype or phone. She is the one. Irina, if you could please provide your phone number, Skype ID, and email ID on public chat, that would be great. Also, here's about how we teach you methodology. We offer a curriculum that is divided into core and elective. Provide that in form of case studies and video lectures. The core 7 modules: mapping, positioning, marketing, customer validation, financing, customer acquisition, and team building. And they cover the types of industry segments: Web 3.0 and e-commerce, cloud computing and business solutions, outsourcing and consulting, mobile and social apps, healthcare, IT, online education, gaming, all of these are elective modules. And what developed all this is since 2006, very soon after I started writing the book, we have been inviting entrepreneurs to come onto our platform and share their strategies and tactics of how they became successful. Today, the largest and the most in-depth collection of case studies, over 600 entrepreneurs have participated in creating this curriculum for you. And we send the nuggets in video lectures, but you also have a very well-organized set of case studies from which to learn. It's like you have 600 entrepreneurs teaching you what you need to learn about building a company. That is incredibly inspiring and incredibly powerful. What we follow is lean, capital efficient bootstrap startups, and you can raise financing. If you're qualified for financing, we will help you raise financing, but please understand that you're going to have to go through a certain period of validation and bootstrapping before you will qualify for financing. That's just the nature of the market today. We do PR work as well on behalf of our portfolio companies. So if you go to our press page on the site, you will see how much coverage we've done of our premium members, and we continue to do that consistently. We have a very powerful social media channel that flows through Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, everything, and we give you access to that entire channel, and you can feed your messages through those channels. You can promote your products and your content and whatever through that channel. So we create platforms through which you can get the word out there about you and your value proposition. This is important because in the early stages, one of the big challenges is to get yourself out there so your customers can find out about you. Incubation Radar is a series that we write about companies that are, in our portfolio, and a lot of investors are following Incubation Radar and Deal Radar on our blog. We have an affiliate program, so if you are an entrepreneurship development organization or a website that's focused on entrepreneurs, you're welcome to become a partner of ours. And we also have Incubator in a Box, which we're using to partner with various organizations around the world, including a lot of corporations. We have partnerships with SAP, Oracle, Intuit, Microsoft, and so on and so forth. And the upcoming free roundtables are pretty much every Thursday. From here, every Thursday we have roundtables, and you're most welcome to come work with us at those roundtables. India 2020 is the book Vineet was mentioning that's got $35 billion business ideas, and it's a business fiction set in 2020. We are sitting in 2020 looking back on building these businesses. It's a book that is specific to help you generate ideas, develop your ideas, and learn a process called visioning. Futuristic retrospective it kind of creates a vision for India, and my vision for India is that entrepreneurs are going to really be the ones who will deliver India from the mess, increasing amounts of mess that we are seeing in India. So that's so Vision India 2020 is actually for Indian entrepreneurs would be something that is very much worth digging into. As I said, Incubator in a Box is our for those in parts of the world, different organizations who are trying to launch their own incubators very seamlessly and affordably. So we are kind of at the end of the session, but I would like to, if you want to stay on and if you want to chat more or ask questions, we'll get some of that if you want to dial into the call, just because we have had a couple of weeks of time off, so I just want to give you a bit more time to ask questions in case you have any questions. So feel free to ask questions either in the chat or dial in. Just let us know in the chat who are dialing in. If you want to talk to someone at 1M1M about your business and whether you want to join the program or not, call her. Her phone number is 786-301-2456. Her ID is Irina_Patterson, and her email is irina@1m1m.com. So feel free to connect with her. Her questions, comments, and discuss. Do you now understand what this is all about? from you in one of these sessions soon. And what we're doing. Thank you for being here. Do you want to have further questions right now? As I said, upcoming sessions are listed on the table page. Every Thursday in the fall, we have roundtables. Feel free to book your slot and spread the word around. Let your entrepreneur friends know that they can use the session to get feedback. And every week we will have Tripati, you can very well present and ask questions in context. That's always better because I have more context about your business. So blot and come do your presentation in one of the upcoming. Good. Ilya, you've promoted your site enough, but it's not very nice to just constantly promote your site because people are trying to engage on and learn here. So just go a little bit slow and on promoting yourself. Platform to come and spam people. No. But just appropriate behavior. Any other questions or comments? Otherwise, we're going to wrap up for today and we'll see you next week, okay? Good luck with all your businesses. See you soon.